Well, BookTube, this was cheap enough, so I purchased it. As you can see, it is a library discard, but it's an old library discard, which I don't mind when it's, traditional stickers and old book plates. New library discards, not so great because everything gets wrapped in that icky plastic and it just ends up looking like junk. But older library discards, I do find can be acceptable to add to my shelves. So as you can see, this is something called Thomas Hardy, Novelist or Poet. This blue paper with blue cloth on the spine. We've got some sun fading though, so this was probably on a shelf with a shorter book next to it, and the sun was able to hit just the top of the book. The spine though, not faded at all. The spine label, little bit torn, little bit chipped there, but overall, it's nice it's still there. It's nice they didn't put any icky labels on the spine. The only library label on the outside of the book is that call number there. So we'll open this up. We've got the library book plate. This is from Montreal's the Fraser Institute Free Public Library, presented to the library initially by Howard Murray OBE in 1957. And I've got, I think it might be my copy of The Admirable Crichton by J.M. Barrie, the Hugh Thompson Illustrated Edition. That is also from maybe the Fraser Institute. I know I've got at least one other book that I purchased from this Livresse Books in Gatineau, Quebec. That is a library discard and is from the Fraser Institute. I could be misremembering which one it is, but it's not. This is not the first Fraser Institute Free Public Library book that I brought into my collection. And it says, Je suis prête, I am ready, in the center of that book plate with what looks like a deer. And there are 4 maple leaves in the corners of this book plate. So there's that, and we will turn the page. Some blank end papers here. Quite a few blank end papers, actually. That's unusual to have so many. There's four pieces, 4 pages front and back that are blank. Then we have our title page. And as you may have guessed, this is an A. Edward Newton. And so here we have the entire edition, less a few copies reserved by the author for presentation purposes, is for sale, and the resulting profit will be forwarded to the committee in England having charge of the erection of a suitable monument to Thomas Hardy, either on Egdon Heath or elsewhere. Announcement will be made by Messrs. Harper and Brothers of the amount subscribed as a result of this effort. Oak Knoll, dated November 15th, 1928. We have the copyright here, 1929 by A. Edward Newton. And there is a note on the type here. This book has been set in Garamount type and printed, both text and illustrations, by the Aquatone process at the press of Edward Stern and Company Incorporated, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The edition is limited to 950 copies. So this is one of 950 copies. Which is why I'm all right purchasing a library discard. There is a portrait of Thomas Hardy by Augustus John from the original painting in Fitzwilliam Museum, Cambridge, as the frontispiece. And here is our main title page telling us this was privately printed in 1929. Thomas Hardy, Novelist or Poet, by A. Edward Newton, with facsimiles of original letters in the Oak Knoll Library. And a little leaf of a printer's device there, I guess. And so we begin, and the book's part of the call number is written on the front of that page there, the bottom of the page. But we begin with Thomas Hardy. talking about him. It looks like there's some letters in here, facsimiles. We've got an embossed stamp from the Fraser Institute Public Library. But I've not read this. I admit I'm not a huge fan of Hardy. He's never been my cup of tea. But this could be interesting from the perspective that it is something compiled, written by A. Edward Newton. And it is one of the missing pieces to my Newton collection. So we'll leave it at that for today.